The Commanders have a brand new head coach in Dan Quinn. So today I'm going to be answering your questions, kind of going over the fallout from this news update for the Washington Commanders. But before I get into that, make sure you guys click that subscribe button for me right now for the most interactive Commanders YouTube channel and content here on YouTube. Every single week we do these mailbags to get your voices heard on the Commanders Report. So if you want to get your questions, your comments, your Commanders mock drafts even, or just to ask a question, you can join us for our Commanders Report live shows every single Thursday right here on the channel. So let's start here with Juice World Fan 999 says, what do you think will happen to Sam Howell? I think they're going to keep him, and he's going to be the backup next year. Okay, they might say something along the lines of, oh, he's going to start camp as the starter, and the rookie that they're going to draft is going to have to earn his keep. But make no bones about it, man. I think that, if you draft a quarterback number 2 overall, whether it be Caleb Williams, whether it be Drake May, whether it be Jaden Daniels, you're drafting that quarterback to be your franchise guy and your starter immediately, okay? So I think whoever they draft is going to be the starter. Sam Howell, as somebody that was drafted in the 5th round, super affordable quarterback as a backup option that has playing experience. I think he's a very quality backup, and he will stay on here with the Commanders moving forward. Then we got one from Uncle Monk with Charlie Brown. Nice. I love that profile picture, by the way. It says, Quinn very, very well may be a good hire, but you can't blame the fan base for being unenthused. Absolutely. All right, Uncle Monk, I completely understand why people are upset with this hire because, it's kind of like a clone of the Ron Rivera hire, right? Defensive head coach, somebody that went to a Super Bowl as a former head coach and lost, right? Somebody that is seen as a culture builder. Like, the similarities are definitely there. But the reason why I am definitely optimistic about this hire is that I think he is actually a legitimately great leader. I think that he's got really good offensive coordinator connections with the Kyle Shanahan tree, and I think that his defensive structure is a lot better than what Ron Rivera was having here with the Commanders. So although on paper there are definitely some similarities, and I definitely don't blame fans for feeling kind of unenthused about not getting an offensive head coach, I do think that this has the potential to work out, and at the end of the day, people are going to like this hire when it's all said and done. Then we got one from Ryan M., and he says, thank you for taking Dan Quinn off our hands. As a Cowboys fan, yes, he will make your defense better, but the ceiling is well-defined, so be prepared. Shanahan will own you. Well, here's the thing about Shanahan. He's going to send, I think, one of his best assistants to the Washington Commanders. All right, Shanahan and Quinn are good friends. Okay, so they're going to, I think Shanahan's going to be like, hey, Klint Kubiak's the next guy up. Or he's going to say Brian Briese is the next man up. And he's going to send him to the Washington Commanders where he's going to be the offensive coordinator. And you're going to have a Shanahan-style offense. The same type of offense that they're running in San Francisco, that they're running in Miami, right? All these different places that are having massive success. You're going to have that style of offense with a Dan Quinn defense, which is like first, second, or third in turnovers every single year. All right, so this is something that I'm definitely if they were going to hire a defensive head coach, I think this is just about as good as you could have done. And overall, I do feel pretty optimistic about this hire moving forward. But I do need to see who the OC hire is before I make a final decision on that. Then we got one from Ricky Thompson. And he says, what will the Commanders do in the draft with Dan Quinn? So I would assume quarterback at number 2. Okay, and then I really don't think the plan changes all that much, right? You still need offensive line help. You still need help on defense, right? You could maybe even use another running back at some point in the draft, right? So you definitely still have the same team needs, but I would definitely like to see what he's going to do with guys that are set to hit free agency. Guys like Kendall Fuller, guys like Cameron Curl, guys that fit more of that Fangio kind of cover 4, off coverage type of system. Dan Quinn's bringing in a heavy man coverage, press coverage, that style of our defense now. So do those guys really fit that style? I guess we'll have to see what Dan Quinn sees in them and their talent moving forward here on the defensive side of the ball. But honestly, with the draft, I'm not sure how much this hiring changes the overall plan for the Washington Commanders. Now let me know down there in the comments section, who will the Commanders take with the number 2 overall pick? It's probably going to be a quarterback. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. But if you think they're going to trade down, Also, let me know that down there in the comment section for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. Then we got one from Spider Monkey 30 here. He says, Dan Quinn versus Eric Bieniemy cage match. Who wins? I think Dan Quinn, man. I think that, he's got the backwards hat. He's got the goatee. I think he's more in shape than Eric is. I think that a cage match, fight to the death, I'll take Dan Quinn over Eric Bieniemy. All right, guys, make sure you guys, never mind. We got the next question here from Wild Hogs. And he says, should we consider trading back and signing Russell Wilson? I don't think so. Russell Wilson's intriguing because you can get him for the vet minimum. There's a clause in his contract where you can sign him for the vet minimum, which is like $1.6 million against the cap, and then Denver has to pay the rest of his contract, all right? So it definitely makes sense from a financial standpoint. It would open up all that cap space to go out and really make some splashes in free agency. However, I think that if you have the opportunity to take a future franchise quarterback who's like 21, 22 years old, number 2 overall, you got to take that opportunity because you don't have that guarantee you're going to have that opportunity again. Russell Wilson is older. This team is rebuilding. I'm not sure if it's a true fit between Russell Wilson and this team moving forward. I think they're going to have to draft a quarterback, number 2 overall. Then we got one from Commanders fan number 1, and he says, do you think we'll make the playoffs this year? It depends on how fast the defense is going to be able to develop because, listen, this defense is built to run a Ron Rivera off coverage, Jack Del Rio, cover 4, cover 6 type defense. Dan Quinn's not going to run that system. So he's going to have to get pretty much brand new personnel on the defensive side of the ball, and they're going to have to really gel together quickly, not to mention you're going to have a rookie quarterback next year. So maybe the Commanders don't make the playoffs next year. If I'd have to guess, I would say no. But hey, if Drake May turns out to be like the next C.J. Stroud with like Klint Kubiak as his offensive coordinator, could they potentially go on a run and maybe be like a wild card team next year? Who knows? All right, so now let me know down there, or not let me know. Go ahead and click that subscribe button for me right now to stay locked in on the Washington Commanders all offseason long. Every time they make a big move, we're going to have you covered with a breaking news video right here on the Commanders Report. We got videos for you just about every day, breaking down the latest news and rumors surrounding the Burgundy and Gold. So if you want to join the most interactive community of Commanders fans right here on the YouTube platform, 100% free, do me a favor, click that subscribe button right now. Then we got one from Patrick Starr. Nice profile picture, by the way. It says, any Cowboys players you could see Quinn trying to bring here. So I actually want to see the list of free agents that the Dallas Cowboys have this year. I don't think Daron Bland is a free agent, right? I don't think so. Trayvon Diggs isn't. Stephon Gilmore would be interesting. He's a little bit older. I think they might be trying to stock up on younger players because this is a rebuild. But Stephon Gilmore is probably the one free agent that's still playing really good football that fits this system. If they want to get kind of like a good CB2 option, something like that, I think Stephon Gilmore would be fine for the right contract. Then we got one from Christine Wilkerson. It says, what defensive players could we get in free agency to match Dan Quinn's scheme? So L'Jarius Sneed, cornerback, is definitely an interesting option because they play a lot of man coverage there in Kansas City as well. They do everything in Kansas City. They do zone, they do man. L'Jarius is one of the best press man corners in football. If Jalen Johnson is available, maybe he's an option. I think he'd be a good fit. So there's definitely some good options at corner. And if you don't bring back Kendall Fuller, you're going to have to get a corner. And then I just think defensively, you need to get a really good edge rusher. All right. And I think Danielle Hunter is that guy. Now, if Josh Allen or Brian Burns is available, I would prefer those guys. But unfortunately, I think those guys are getting franchise tagged. So I think that Danielle Hunter is going to be the best available edge on the market. I think you got to throw as much money as you possibly can. What'd you say, Jeremy? Not Chase Young. Get out of here. He's done. He's going to the Chicago Bears, all right? So now you tell me, down there in the comments section, name a free agent that you think the Commanders should sign this offseason. Do you want to go out and get a corner? Do you want to get a big-name edge rusher? We need an edge rusher, by the way. Go out down there in the comments section. Let me know which free agent you want the Burgundy and Gold to go out and get this offseason. Coming out from JJ, the jet plane, and he says, we will have a leg up on the Cowboys this season, or will we? I think so. And maybe maybe it's just minimal. I mean, it all comes down to the execution, right? But at the end of the day, This guy has been with that organization for the last 3 years. He knows the strengths and the weaknesses of every single defensive player on that Dallas Cowboys roster. And he's practiced against that offense every single day for the last 3 years. So he knows the strengths and weaknesses of that side of the ball as well. So if you're looking for somebody that can give you a little bit of an advantage over the Dallas Cowgirls, I mean, Dan Quinn is that kind of guy. Absolutely. And not just the Cowboys, by the way, because he's played the Eagles and the Giants twice a year as well. He knows those teams very well as well. So he knows this division. He knows the strengths and weaknesses. I think this is a really good fit for other reasons as well, but this is definitely an advantage that the Commanders get by hiring Dan Quinn. And then you got one from Arnaldo Castro. And he says, how would you feel if we traded back and drafted O-line and stuck with Howell for one more season to prove himself? Listen, man, last year was his prove himself year, okay? So he was a 5th-round pick. Or if you're a 5th-round pick, you get probably, at best, one season to prove that you're a starter. That was last year. And the stretch to finish off the year last year was so bad. All right, he led the league in interceptions last year. It just wasn't good at all. I mean, the final probably 7 or 8 games of his season was probably the worst of any quarterback in the National Football League last year. And because you have that number 2 pick in your lap right now, you don't know if you're going to get an opportunity to take a quarterback that high ever again with Dan Quinn. I just don't think that you can pass up on that opportunity for a guy you drafted in the 5th round and was completely terrible down the stretch last year. So no, I think they keep Howell as a backup, but I think it's time to move on and get a new quarterback, number 2 overall. Then we got one from GG23. And he says, could the Commanders trade for Dak Prescott? No. Dak is staying in Dallas. I know that some Dallas Cowboys fans are frustrated with Dak not winning enough playoff games, but he's making a ton of money. A lot of that is with signing bonus and restructures. So the Cowboys would have to eat a large chunk of that contract if he was traded. And that offense was one of the best in football last year. And Dak was arguably the most effective passer of the football in the 2023 season. So would you trade him? I definitely wouldn't if I were the Cowboys. If I'm the Commanders, I don't think I'm trading for Dak Prescott. I mean, I just wouldn't feel comfortable that he'd ever win a playoff game. So I don't think it works out for either side. Interesting idea here because Dan Quinn is the head coach now, but I really don't think Dak Prescott is a legitimate possibility. All right, so make sure you guys click that subscribe button for me right now for in-depth, everyday Commanders coverage for free right here on YouTube. Really do appreciate all of your guys' support. Help us get to 20,000 subscribers by the NFL draft by clicking that subscribe button right now. And until next time, hail to the Commanders.